Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. Encouraged by Belarusian guards, dozens of illegal migrants attacked the Polish border for yet another night. The border guard recorded 80 such incidents.
Blinding lasers, stroboscopic lights and being pelted with stones. This is what Polish officers and soldiers on the border with Belarus face every day. These attacks are organised under supervision of the Belarusian forces. Last night about 125 people took part. Just after midnight, a group of 75 people crossed the border and were stopped and turned back. This year we recorded 38,000 attempts to cross the border from Belarus into Poland. In December alone, there have been 500 such attempts. 140 troops from 32 Regiment Royal Engineers arrived to help Poland to stabilise the border crisis. They'll join Estonian soldiers who are already serving on Poland's eastern border. We're also discussing similar support with Hungary and the Czech Republic. Our allies support us and understand what we are dealing with. It is about the need to stop the operation of the Belarusian services against Poland. Meanwhile, Belarusian officials have established a migrant camp near the border with Lithuania. The Lithuanian border guard service said on Wednesday, referring to recorded evidence from a migrant. In the video, filmed near Draghi at the Lithuanian border on Wednesday, the migrant says they walked to the Lithuanian border from the camp on the orders of Belarus officials. The migrants were then expelled from Lithuania, the border guard service said. The Belarus border guard service did not immediately reply to request for comment.
Okay, but when you was near border, yeah, you was with two soldiers.
Yeah, to Belarus.
In Belarus.
Border of Belarus?
Yeah.
There is no still.
Before cross border.
We don't cross the border. They bring us.
By foot?
By car. No, by car.
By car?
They bring us to the camp of here by car.
Yeah,
but then you went
by foot. By foot, yes.
With soldier?
With soldier.
Meanwhile, a day after assuming office, German Interior Minister Nancy Faeser demanded that, quote, legal standards are respected, unquote. She wants Poland to allow the European Union Frontex agency to legalise migrants into the European Union. The German agency DPA comments that although Faeser did not mention Poland, her statement is a veiled criticism of the actions of the Polish authorities, who have not used Frontex support to deal with the influx of migrants through Belarus and are not allowing charities into the border area, where until recently a state of emergency was in force. According to media reports, they are pushing migrants back into Belarus, DPA points out.
Polish President Andrzej Duda has met Svetlana Tsikhanouskaya, the leader of the democratic Belarusian opposition. She expressed her thanks for the support received from Poland.
Poland was one of the first countries to hear the Belarusians' voice and support the democracy movement in Belarus. I respect Poland very much for its stand, Tsikhanouskaya said, adding that other countries were not as courageous. Asked about the best way to resolve the conflict between the Belarusian opposition and the Lukashenko regime, Tsikhanouskaya said she supports peaceful methods and dialogue. She stressed that the opposition's striving had to lead to free elections in which Belarusians would be able to choose the leader they want.
Pani Svetlana Tsikhanouskaya mówiła mi, jak mniej więcej wygląda w tej chwili sytuacja na Białorusi.
The issue of Belarus will be raised, not only by me in Poland, but also by other European and world leaders. Today there is no better example that shows what happens when democracy is lacking. Democratic standards can be violated brutally. We also talked about the referendum which will be organised by the Belarusian regime. It is obvious that the results will be falsified, as will information about the turnout. The entire Belarusian opposition is wondering what to do to let the world know what is really going on.
Które wszyscy sobie stawiają, przede wszystkim przedstawiciele opozycji białoruskiej.
Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki met Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi in Rome today. Topics discussed range from the situation on the Polish-Belarusian border to the rapid rise in energy prices. Poland seeks support to push the European Commission to fix the Emission Trading System. The price of a certificate for the emission of 1 tonne of carbon dioxide rose from about €30 in January to 90 this week, all as a result of speculation.
We talked about the manipulation of natural gas prices and the ETS. I told Prime Minister Draghi that at the European Council I will propose closing the ETS to investors from outside the energy industry, which has to use these allowances. The second idea is to reduce gas prices, and here too we have ideas. Another problem is the issue of migration. Europe must make its borders secure. It is very important that, within the North Atlantic Alliance, we are on the same wavelength. I am pleased that this is the case with the Italian Prime Minister. It was a very good conversation.
The lower house of Parliament, the Sejm, passed a bill that lowers excise tax on energy. The legislation is part of the Polish government's anti-inflation shield. The bill introduces an exemption from excise tax on electricity sold to households between the 1st of January and the 31st of May 2022 and a reduction in the tax rate for other recipients. It also provides for a reduction in excise tax rates on fuels in the period from 20th of December this year to the 31st of May 2022. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.